Can you be around alcohol after you quit? And yes, you can, but it's going to depend on several factors. What are your personal triggers, as well as what stages of recovery are you in? It does get easier as you go along, but it's very important that you're careful in what situations you put yourself in the very beginning. Now, for some, it's easy to be around alcohol after they quit. It's not an issue at all. While for others, it's challenging and risky, especially in the early stages. So, if you think being around certain people or in certain environments is going to tempt you to have a drink, it's better to avoid these situations altogether. For me personally, it took about 3 months before I was able to kind of get back into social interactions with people, meet them out for dinner, go out to bars, or just go hang out with friends before I really felt comfortable being in those situations and not being tempted to have a drink. And even then, at 3 months, it was still kind of iffy. I was picking and choosing carefully, what situations I'd put myself in. So you got to be careful, especially early on. And now, one of the main questions people ask themselves is, can I still be around alcohol? Now, while there's not one answer that fits everyone, the short answer is it depends on the individual situation. Now, let's dive into the different factors to consider. So, early on in your sobriety is very key on what you do and what situations you put yourself in. For instance, the first couple weeks or first couple months, you may not put yourself in any of these positions or hang out with certain people until you feel comfortable. Now, for me, I missed concerts, I missed, gatherings, birthday parties, barbecues, a trip to Alaska, a trip to Croatia. And I had to do that because I knew the temptation to quit drinking was too high. I knew I wasn't ready to be put in those situations yet. Early on, your mind and your body are still adjusting to the change. And even though you're committed to your decision to quit drinking, the temptation and the cravings will still pop up. And they can come out of nowhere. The the cravings could be as simple as smelling alcohol or walking into a bar or walking into a friend's house and everyone's drinking, having a good time, and instantly these thoughts and memories will start to come up of similar situations where you were drinking and having a good time. So if those temptations do come up, how are you going to handle it? Are you going to be able to either walk away or not have a drink? And that's going to be up to you how you handle that. For me, early on, I would have a plan going into places, and it would look something like I'd going over to a friend's house for a barbecue, and I would tell myself going into it, if I get tempted or if I think I'm going to have a drink or if things just get too much, I'll either step away from the party for a little bit and come back, or maybe I just leave altogether and tell my friends, hey, I'm going to take off. I'll see you guys later. It depends on the situation. It depends on where you're at. But early on, it's very important that you have a plan. Part of this plan is knowing and understanding and being aware of your triggers. Your triggers could be emotional, they could be environmental. Emotional triggers could be stress or sadness, anxiety. You grab a drink to relieve yourselves of feeling those emotions. You could be stressed out from work, stressed out from family life, your spouse, kids, just the everyday stress of life. Environmental triggers could be as simple as walking into a bar to meet all your friends. They're all drinking, having a good time. And all of a sudden, memories start coming back in your head of when you would do the same thing. So being aware of those triggers is important. Not only that, but what are you going to do when those triggers arise? Are you going to be prepared? Are you able to handle those situations when they arise? For me, going into those situations, I knew I had to be ready for the temptations because it's going to happen. The temptation will be there for a while. For me, took about, I would say, close to a year until I really felt like I could go back into these situations all the time and never be craving a drink. Now, for you, it might be right away. It just depends. It depends on you. But it is important to understand your triggers so you can make better informed decisions on where you spend your time, what situations you put yourself in, and maybe you avoid all these situations altogether. It's about finding the spots that you're going to be vulnerable in and managing them appropriately, whether that's just not going at all or having a plan when you are tempted to have a drink. You know, when you get into these social interactions, there's going to be peer pressure one way or another. And that could be the self-imposed pressure you put on yourself or peer pressure from others. Now, I would say the peer pressure from others, for the most part, is unintended. It's just natural for someone to offer you a drink, a friend to offer you a drink. You know, especially if they don't know what you're going through, what you're trying to accomplish, what you're working on. But maybe have a few phrases saved up, memorized it to handle those situations, right? Because they are going to come up. You know, hey, would you like a drink? No, I'm good. Simple as that. In most cases, they'll leave it at that. You might get some pushback here and there, but for the most part, if you just tell them something like, "No, I'm not going to be drinking today," or "I got to drive," or "I'm taking a break for right now," like it usually just kind of the conversation just kind of continues, and it's not really an issue. Now, also, it's important to create a support network. Now, this could be friends, family, it could be a therapist, it could be a sober coach, maybe a sponsor through AA. It just depends on where you're at or what you feel comfortable with. But you want to have people around you that, again, know what you're trying to accomplish, what your goals are, and that you can lean on in times of temptation, right? Someone you can call or someone you can text or someone that you're hanging out with that you can kind of maybe take to the side and talk to them about what you're going through in that moment. It's important to be honest with yourself about your limits. If you think being around alcohol could jeopardize your progress, it's okay to say no in certain situations. Your sobriety and well-being should always come first. So are you going to be able to be around alcohol after you drink? For some, yes. For others, it may take some time. And for others, it may not be an option at all. The most important thing is you listen to yourself and act accordingly. Understand your triggers and set up a good support system to make sure that you're not tempted to drink. It's important that you're honest with yourself about your limits. If you feel like being around alcohol is going to jeopardize your progress, it's okay to say no to certain situations. Your sobriety and well-being should always come first. So are you going to be able to be around alcohol after you quit? For some, yes. For some, it's going to take some time. And for others, it may not be an option at all. The most important thing is to listen to yourself, know your triggers, and set up a good support network to help you along your sobriety journey. Now, if you're struggling with this or want to share your experiences, please leave a comment below. Or if you enjoyed this content and would like more content on living a sober and healthy lifestyle, Please like, subscribe, and share. And as always, be kind to yourself. See you on the next one.